enhancing your homeschool through field trips. You've probably had a really long day and you're probably really tired, right? But we've saved the best for last. This is the most exciting one. You're going to learn about the amazing field trip opportunities that we have right here in Central Florida. Learn how field trips, outside classes, and real-world hands-on experience can boost everyday learning, stimulate interest, and improve academic understanding. They're totally fun too. I think the parents enjoy them sometimes more than the kids. And I'll tell you, I did not ever learn that. We learn so much on the field trips. So my name is Stephanie, and I run one of the largest homeschool communities in Tampa Bay, Gulfside Art and Science Academy, GASA. I've been a professional event planner since '99. That's her. I was like, what's rattling back there? She's fine. Through GASA, I share with homeschoolers, field trips, classes, and mentoring. My daughter's entering the 7th year of homeschooling. Hold on. Tickle. Excuse me. Okay. GASA is not a school, a co-op, or a business, okay? I want you to know that I do not make any money on the field trips, and I'm not here necessarily to sell you my field trips, okay? Don't make any money on them. I do them strictly on a volunteer basis. You can join my field trips for free. This is the Facebook page. If you follow the Facebook page, you'll see it's not a group, it's a page. You don't have to pay to join, just follow along. Any field trips you want to join, just sign up and then follow whatever the rule is for that. My older two are 26 and 30, so I spent 20 years volunteering in the school as a teacher assistant, every day, constantly. So this is my way of volunteering with her. So that's all. All right, so let's see. Who do we have kindergarten through 3rd grade? A lot of young ones, woohoo. And then 4th through 6th? Okay, good amount. And then 8th through 12th? Just a couple. Okay, come on in. There's some seats kind of in the middle here. You're welcome to sit down. I have recommendations for every age. You see I gave you a list. It's really tiny print because I was trying to get as much on there as I possibly could. My daughter is in 8th, 9th grade now. I know that sounds weird. She'll be doing 5 years of high school, but we're not going to talk about all that because we're here for the fun stuff. So, who is totally new to homeschooling? Ooh, lots of you. You're going to discover how fun this is. So we are eclectic homeschoolers, and what does that mean? That means we use a variety of methods to teach. So we use books, workbooks, websites, documentaries, unit studies, hands-on classes, lots of field trips. That said, so these are the numbers for my daughter last year for 8th grade. 42 field trips, 12 science classes, labs, and dissections, 9 history-related events, 7 Emerald Lagasse cooking classes, 4 classic literature books read, 3 health and safety certifications, 2 Broadway shows, 1 personal finance program, and 1 standardized test that she rocked. So that actually adds to, if you add the important ones here, that adds up to 68 days of hands-on learning. 68 days. How many field trips do public school kids go on?
1 if they're lucky.
Yeah. 68 days. So we do all this in addition to regular written schoolwork, I swear. Last year we did English Lit, Math, Science, U.S. History, and Spanish for her written subjects. So now you're thinking, how the heck do you do all that, right? So for us, we school year round. It's a personal choice. Some do and some don't, but here, I'm from Chicago. So here, summer is a stupid hot. And so if we're not outside in the pool, in the AC, forget about it. We do school a lot in the summer. And then there's no loss of knowledge. That's the biggest, cool thing. You school year long, you actually get ahead because you don't have to redo part of the year. We travel and take time off when we choose to. We don't follow anyone's schedule but our own. We do all our field trips and stuff during the week. On the weekends, we are hiding inside when all the people are out. In the summer, we don't plan much of it. We are hiding from all the people. We also found that homeschooling year-round for us fits our family because my husband's a hotel manager. His job is 24/7. So it just works. You know, he would never see her otherwise. So what does this all look like? So I already told you that she had 68 days of hands-on outside classes and field trips. The rest of the days are written schoolwork. By no means in Florida do you have to keep track of how many school days you do at all. Hello. I keep track because I'm really organized and just weird like that because I want to make sure. And we do 180 to 190 school days. But I count all the field trips as school days. So, and she's still fine. She's still smart. Because all that is spread out through the year though, we might do 3 days of written work this week. We might do 1 day of written work. Next week, we might do 5 days of written work. It really averages out. Come on in, sit down. There's a couple seats in the middle here. You're welcome to. So for us, the world is our classroom. Everything is experience-based. Reading to me is one-dimensional. Even watching a documentary brings only a second dimension into the mix. So we incorporate the field trips into our curriculum to engage and stimulate further learning and spark interest in a 3 and 4D way. We use all of our senses, and we use pre-trip education and then follow-up learning to round out the subject area. So field trips really build on that instruction in a more deep and meaningful way. As Mark Twain said, don't let your schooling interfere with your education. I said this in the last class too, because to me it's really important. I used to sell family travel, and one of my favorite things to say was, vacation equals education. And I strongly believe that. I was raised that way. I have raised all my children that way. Done right, it is so true. Vacation equals education. And we can use that concept on a smaller way right here in Florida, utilizing the abundant field trip opportunities that we have. So let's talk about those field trips. When my daughter was in a brick and mortar school in first grade, we pulled her for a first grade vacation, a cruise vacation. And the idea was that it was going to be all about animals. So she swam with stingrays, sea turtles, and dolphins. She was holding a dolphin in her hands like this, upside down, looking at its belly button. I'm not kidding, right there like this. And they did this 45-minute talk on, the anatomy and all that. And we came home to a nasty email from the school. You missed too many days of school. While we were gone, they went to the aquarium and watched dolphins over there. And I thought, well, I just got yelled at and reprimanded for going above and beyond, because who had the better learning experience? My daughter, who's standing there like literally holding this dolphin and looking at its belly button, was crazy. So it was then, within a couple months actually, that I started homeschooling. But even then I didn't really know how important field trips were going to be to me. I didn't know they were going to be this big of a deal. But it's really brought this hands-on learning to life. So where do we do all these fun field trips? Again, we happen to live in one of the most amazing places to homeschool. We are super lucky. We have so many opportunities. As I said, my group is free, so I spend a lot of time planning these classes and field trips for all of us. Everybody is welcome to come, but there are also tons of other great Facebook groups, co-ops that you can join. Some are free and some are paid, but lots of people are offering field trips out there. In the last 6 years, I've managed about 150 field trips, and each year I am actually literally amazed that I can continue coming up with more, because it's not easy, but I do it. And it's crazy. But you can join the field trips in classes, again, on this Facebook page. But remember, not every field trip has to be in a group. You don't have to do it in a group. You can do it on your own, or grab a couple other homeschool friends. The reason we benefit by booking as groups is because we get some sort of benefit, whether it is a discount or a guided tour or some other educational benefit. For instance, many museums will not give a tour unless you book as a group. So by booking as the group, we get a discount, we get a tour, we get some additional things. So if you can, go with your groups, but if you just go on your own too, you don't have to go with the whole group. So on that handout, I have a list of a lot of things. There's also, again, QR codes. There's a QR code on that handout too that'll bring you to a little picture that I keep that list in, and I do update it. I try to update it every couple months or so. So some of our favorite field trips by category, and they're not listed by category there, but just listen. For history, the historical tours of St. Augustine, which is the oldest continually occupied Spanish settlement in the U.S. The Henry Plant Museum is absolutely one of our favorites. So Florida is what it is today in big part because of the two Henrys. Henry Flagler on the East Coast and Henry Plant on the West Coast. The Chinnesgut Hill Manor Historical Home. That is super amazing. You learn a lot about the house and the history of the land and slavery at the time, and it's really informative. That is a great one, mark it off.
Which one is that one?
The Chinnesgut, it looks like Chinesgut, Chinnesgut Hill Manor. It'd be under like the Tampa list.
What do you have?
It's the third row.
Are there any more of those? I don't know where they stopped. Do you have more of those? Here, one slide.
Sorry.
You got it?
Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. The Florida Holocaust Museum, the SS American Victory Ship. I don't know if anyone's ever done that. It's down by the aquarium. That is was a real working merchant marine ship. Come on in. The Tampa Bay History Center is a really cool museum about Florida history if you haven't been there. There are some Nina and Pinta replica ships. I don't know if anyone's seen these, so a couple of you have. They come around every few years, so you have to watch for that. It's a traveling thing. Those are pretty amazing, so watch for those. If I see them coming, I will post about it. Melton's Machinery Museum. You will never have heard of that probably. That is a really cool place, and it's this guy who owns all this antique machinery, and he did an amazing tour for us and set up like 6 or 7 stations, and the kids could come and work all these old machineries and do hands-on things from the old days. Really awesome. The Safford House Museum was in Tarpon, and we love to do ghost tours. But ghost tours often have a lot of historical stuff in it, so they're really fun. So Ybor City has an excellent one. The May Stringer House in Brooksville, they have a regular tour, and then they have a ghost tour too. Orlando has a ghost tour that's right in the city center, which is really awesome. So in Orlando, there are some other great history tours. The Titanic is a wonderful one. But there's 2 sides to that. There's the Titanic Museum tour, and then they have an interactive dinner. You have to do both. And I know that sounds crazy. It's a little pricey when you do both. But the dinner, you don't get the tour. So you have to kind of do both to really get the whole experience. It's really amazing. It's very, very good. Chocolate Kingdom, which is I think right across from the Titanic, they have the most amazing historical explanation of chocolate I've ever seen. It is really, really well done. There's tasting, and then they have hands-on chocolate stuff that the kids can make. It is a really good tour. The President's Hall of Fame, that's another really tiny one you may have never heard of. It's in Claremont. It's kind of in between here and Orlando. It is a small place with so much U.S. history stuff in there. It's absolutely nuts. Like, my husband loved it because I asked him, what are some of your favorite field trips? He's like, oh, the President's Hall of Fame. He likes that one. So for science, the Orlando Science Center is really great. Our Mosey kind of sucks. I'm sorry.
We need to go back to where it was at the beginning.
Yeah, I didn't see that. So, the MODS Museum of Discovery and Science. It's pretty awesome. That's in Fort Lauderdale. It's a really good museum if you're down there. ASTC travel passport. Does anybody have a science museum pass? A couple of you. Okay, so it's a really weird thing, but your science museum pass should be under the ASTC. You might want to write that down. ASTC travel passport program. You'll be able to Google that and pull up a PDF, and it'll tell you all the places your science museum pass is good at in the country. Now, there's a key to it. So we always buy ours away from home. So we would buy, we would buy ours in Fort Lauderdale because you can't use it within 90 miles of your home or 90 miles of your home museum. So I'd buy it in Fort Lauderdale, knowing that I could use it in Tampa at all the museums, and then I could go to Orlando and use it at all the museums, because it's far enough from my home and far enough from Fort Lauderdale. So there's little tricks to that, but that's a really cool thing. If you have questions, send me an email or something, I'll tell you more about it. Syndaver Labs. They go back and forth on doing tours, but they make the fake bodies and body parts and animal parts for dissection. Like, it's amazing. If you want to ever check it out, I have, I don't have video, but I have pictures on my GASA Facebook page. It is amazing.
Which one is that?
Syndaver Labs. He was on Shark Tank. So instead of like dissecting a frog, he made fake frogs. But he does like human bodies and like horse heads and like, so he does stuff for veterinarians, but also stuff for colleges and high schools. Some of the local schools here use them. They are really cool. It is a neat place. Orlando, WonderWorks, Ripley's, those are great too. We've got the Space Center on the East Coast. If you want to watch a launch and watch it for free, Kennedy Point Park is a park that you park at for free. It's right across from the Space Center, and you can watch a launch there. It's really a nice spot. For nature, my favorite place, and no group needed for this, is Circle B Bar Reserve. Has anyone been there?
Yes.
Okay, so you know, that is, bar none, my all-time favorite place for seeing the real Florida, what Florida used to look like. The sights and the sounds there are amazing. The wildlife is so abundant. So if your children love wildlife, Circle B Bar Reserve is the best place ever. Shark diving in Jupiter, Florida. You can do it in a lot of places. We did it last year. Open water, no cage, wild sharks. Amazing. Like, we had bull sharks, lemon sharks, I don't even remember what else. Amazing to die for. Okay, Tarpon Springs Aquarium. They have a new facility. If you haven't been there, Tarpon Springs Aquarium is a smaller aquarium, little different. It's a more unique family-owned aquarium. They also offer homeschool classes and tours. Homosassa Springs, if you haven't been there, that is all Florida wildlife except for Lou the hippo. All the other wildlife there is Florida. Alpaca Magic, that's up near Homosassa as well. They have tons of alpacas and they're absolutely adorable, and they teach you all about that. But then they taught you how they make the alpaca wool yarn and stuff. It's a really good experience. J&G Animal Rescue Ranch, they are closer side of Spring Hill. We've probably been there 4 or 5 times now. She just does it by donation. Kids can bring like apples and carrots and stuff, feed any animals they want, and play with them all. It's amazing. Fat Beet Farm, they talk to us about sustainable gardening and aquaponics. Then there's a farm school at Treehouse Farm right here in Trinity. That's a lot of fun. I mean, they have some neat stuff there. Abby's Organic Farm, and the teens can also volunteer at Abby's Organic Farm. And in South Florida, there's some good ones. Gumbalimbo Nature Center's great. Butterfly World is amazing. And of course, Everglades National Park and Holiday Park. So for art, the Chihuly Glass Center, if you've never seen or your kids have never seen glass blowing, It's amazing. They do a 45-minute glass blowing demonstration from beginning to end of a piece, and it is very, very good. Dunedin Fine Arts Center has a great place for the kids to explore. It is really nice. Don't forget about places like Strauss Center and other theaters for Broadway for the kids or children's theater. There are a lot of things, and you can get cheaper tickets when you go during the day to the children's programs. And Safety Harbor Art and Music Center is really awesome if you haven't been there, and they have classes and different events too. Sports, if your kids are interested in sports, you can do tours at the Tropicana Stadium and the Amelina Arena, and they're both really cool behind the scenes tours. I'm not sure what to call this category because I've got kind of a mishmash of stuff in here. Edgecombe Courthouse down in Tampa, they do a Journey Through Justice tour that is amazing. We've done it twice, and it is amazing. You need to do it. Enterprise Village and Finance Park, that's done once a year. You have to register for that. If you're interested, let me know. I can hook you up with someone. It's a 6-week curriculum program, and then they have a 1-day full hands-on experience, and I can tell you more about that at the end if you want. Bay News 9 has a behind-the-scenes tour that's really pretty awesome. We've done that a couple of times. Fire stations. Now this one, I have older kids, so I've been to a lot of fire stations. Tampa Firefighter Museum and Fire Station. It's right in the heart of Tampa, and I think it's Fire Station 1. They have the best tour I've ever seen, and they have a museum there, and it is so cool. Like the best bar none fire station tour, because every kid has to go on the fire station tour. Every kid, you know, right? I've been on lots of them. The Newport Richey Post Office does behind the scenes tours, and they won't let you take pictures, but it's very cool. The Port of Tampa Bay Harbor Tour, it's free. All you have to do is sign up online, Port of Tampa Bay. It's free, sign up and go. You don't have to do a group or anything, it's free. And it's a really neat history tour, and who doesn't want to sit in a boat for a couple of hours and see Tampa Bay? So, okay, more behind the scenes tours. We have lots of those. Pinellas County Solid Waste. They have a waste to energy tour that's really awesome. They have great information about waste and recycling. Your local Publix will have, they do their own tours in the store. You can ask your local Publix. And Publix Dairy Plant in Lakeland. They do a tour as well where kids kind of standing up above and look through the windows and can see different dairy things. Can't take pictures there either. Even if they have these really cool, all these old boxes of like the old ice cream boxes, and they were really neat looking. They wouldn't even let me take a picture of that. I was like, I'm not taking production, I just want that. No, can't take a picture of it, but okay. The Tampa International Airport, they do a tour that's really great, like a 3-hour long, like a good tour. Bahama Bucks does one, California Pizza Kitchen does one, and they make pizza. The Hindu Temple of Florida was amazing, and they do an awesome tour and give you lunch, an Indian lunch. Trader Joe's does a behind the scene tour. Center Ice does one, and then you ice skate afterwards. Pretty cool. So educational classes. I do a ton of classes at Tampa Bay Watch Discovery Center. It's down in St. Pete on the pier. We do science classes, labs, dissections. We've dissected sharks, squid, lionfish. The last shark we dissected was 4 feet long, about 45 pounds. They said they can't do another one that big. They had to buy a new freezer because of it. Oh, all their dissections are fresh. There's no formaldehyde. So you remember that when you were kids and stuff. No formaldehyde, so they don't stink. I mean, you might slightly smell fish, but that's it. So that's pretty awesome. I have to put those on the calendar still yet. I don't have those up on my calendar yet, but I will be booking more of those this year. I do them every year. The Florida Aquarium and Mote Aquariums, they both have homeschool classes and summer camps. Clearwater Moccasin Lake, they do a lot of hands-on science and nature classes. And I think we did like 9 of them last year. I'll probably book a couple more of them this year. Clearwater Marine Aquarium does classes as well, and their classes are really particularly good. I think I've got 5 or 6 on my calendar this year already. And then in Orlando, we do the Emerald Lagasse Kitchen, House, and Culinary Edible Education classes. They will create custom classes to whatever you want. I mean, if you say, I'm reading a Harry Potter book, she'll create a class to go with the Harry Potter book. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, she'll create a class for pretty much anything. I went to culinary school myself. They're really good classes. They are really, really good classes. They not only learn to cook, they learn about the seed to table organic gardening, and the geography of the herbs and vegetables and the history of the dishes they're cooking. So it's a really well-rounded cooking class, and it's taught on a different level, but very similar to culinary school. It's taught very well. Some of the classes we've done there: sushi and tea, Columbian exchange, medieval feasts, pasta, pizza, Aztec, dumplings around the world, holidays around the world, cheese science, southern cooking based on a cookbook by a former slave, the mother sauces. We've got several more on the calendar now. Got one next week on etiquette around the world. We got Julia Child one coming. So just tons of them. We've been doing them for several years. They're amazing. And then finally, if you're looking for places where you and your kids can volunteer together, we have Keep Pinellas Beautiful. They clean up the beaches and stuff, which is really nice. Metropolitan Ministries, Messengers of Hope. Let's see. So that was a lot, right? I mean, I didn't talk about everything on that list. I tried to just highlight, and it was hard to narrow down, but I just kind of highlighted. There's a lot more in Florida than Disney World, you know. One way to incorporate these field trips into your curriculum is by using the unit study method. And I talked about this in the last class. There's a couple sheets here, but it's also on the free and cheap resources list, probably there. Basically, for a unit study, you want to choose a subject that's interesting and explore some books and poems and other materials. Watch some documentaries and movies. Do some worksheets, lap books, print something from these great websites. I've got lists of them, again, on my website. It's all free. Do something creative, like create crosswords, word finds, coloring sheets, crafts, make a poster board, cook something, do an experiment, and then do a field trip to round it out. You know, like there's so many amazing places here that go with your studies. Almost everything, like just so many amazing places. But you can, you know, go out to dinner even, eat the food, taste, you know, the country, hear the music, whatever it is, you know, use all your senses. Some of the unit study ideas that I could give you, like for an art unit, we did like Tampa Museum of Art, the Chihuly Glass. Lipa Ratner is in Tarpon, I believe. Dunedin Fine Arts, the Dali, and then Safety Harbor Art and Music Center. Florida History, I didn't mention that in this class yet, I don't think. On my website, there is a list of unit studies. There is a unit study for Florida history and a separate PDF that is Florida history field trips. Both of those are amazing. Usually in, I think it's 4th or 5th grade, the public school kids do Florida history. So, you know, we got to do it at some point too, I imagine. I don't know. We did it, I think, in 5th grade. But for Florida history, we included St. Augustine, the city tours, Fort, Lighthouse, St. George Street. The Flagler Museum is in Palm Beach. Tallahassee has the old Capitol, which is really cool if you're old enough to remember the Hanging Chad in 2000. There's a whole room dedicated to it. It's hysterical. It is so fun. So Tallahassee has the old Capitol, the new Capitol, and then the old city cemetery. Gainesville has the Natural History Museum. And then in the Tampa area, we have Enterprise Village, the Port of Tampa Tour, Henry Plant, Tampa History Museum, Edgecombe Courthouse, just a ton of all these tours to really complete the Florida history unit. If you want to do something medieval, we have medieval times in Orlando, okay? But you know what? We booked a medieval cooking class then at Emerald. So we rounded that out and added, you know, something else that's fun. Dinosaurs, you have the T-Rex Cafe. They do tours, which is totally cute. And Dinosaur World, they have tons of local fossil digs around. Sea life, marine biology stuff. You could book a class at an aquarium, do a dissection at the Tampa Bay Watch, visit other aquariums, swim with something. We have dolphins, manatees, stingrays, sea turtles, sharks. You can even sleep with the fishes at the Florida Aquarium. Now, if anybody's done that. Let's see, what other fun stuff do we have? So anyway, you get the idea. You know, find something interesting and add these field trip adventures to your curriculum. You can really mix them right in and they will enhance and deepen the learning experience. So what do I have coming up? So I'm still adding to the calendar. I haven't gotten everything on there yet, but I do have stuff on there through April of 24. So in November, we're doing a trip to Gainesville. It's 2 days. You don't have to go to both field trips, but if you want to, that's kind of why we do it. We're driving. So we go and stay a couple days at Gainesville. We have the Natural History Museum and the Harn Art Museum. In February, we're doing Fort Myers. So we're doing the Edison Ford Winter Homes and the Gatorama, which I have never been to, but I'm dying to go to because obviously you can tell I'm weird. I like all these things. It's all hands-on. You can hold all the gators and junk snakes and stuff, and so I'm so excited about that. And then I've got a bunch of Clearwater Marine Aquarium classes on the calendar already, and some Emerald Lagasse cooking classes. I'll be adding a bunch more. If you're interested in following them, again, will all be on the Facebook page. I don't charge anything extra for joining the field trips. Just join for whatever it is. On my website, there are tons of resources and information, tons. What you won't find on my website is ads. There are no ads from other people. I absolutely hate going on websites and scrolling and all you see is ads. If there is a link on my website, I put it there myself. I put it there for a reason. It's a trusted source. If there's a link to purchase something, it's because I've used it myself. So I don't let anybody advertise on my website. So anything you find on there, lists of curriculum by grade level, this will bring you directly to that page. So if you're interested in piecing together curriculum, this gives you some great ideas. Links to my homeschool videos. There's also my YouTube. I'm not monetized on YouTube either. I'm not making any money off of you, just so you know. But there's tons of YouTube videos on field trips, science experiments, immersive education, cooking, free resources. I've got tons of unit studies listed there. Let's see, what else? There's links to, there's a few more, no, there's not one. So it'd be on that one. There's links to all these websites. They're free and cheap resources. So if you have kids like under 5th and under, those are great. Tons of free and cheap resources for the younger ones. There's also, if you're newer, information on portfolio evaluation and how to create a portfolio. There's also a video that walks you through it. And information on your letter of intent if you haven't done that yet. I don't know. Are there any questions? I don't know if I'm missing anything. No questions about field trips? This is the most fun. You guys are all tired. This is the most fun part of the day.
So I have a question. So you get the field trips together, and obviously you let us know the cost of the whole thing. And
I basically all I do is organize the field trip, and I do take in all the money, and because when you book as a group, they want one payment. They don't want 600 payments. So that's it. That's all I'm doing. I don't make any extra money on it, I promise. My mom's always like, you should charge for doing that. I'm like, it's not worth it. I do not want to deal with the IRS. Not for the couple dollars that I'm gonna make. It's not worth it. No, I don't make any money on anything. I do have some Amazon links for some of the curriculum, but it's all stuff I used, and I might make 5 cents on that. So, literally, I just signed up for that. Go ahead.
So if we sign up and you take the money, do we just show up there then?
Yeah, you'll have an event. There'll be an event page. Do you use Facebook much?
Yeah.
So you know the events. There'll be an event page. Every event, the pinned post is a class list, and you just sign up on there, and the payment is due. And some of them might say you need to pay right away because however many people you might fill up or whatever. And some of them we can have as many people as we want. It just depends. There might be a max number of people. But all the information is always there, the grade level or age level, if that pertains. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm really very detailed. I mean, if you look at my events, and you can see all my past events, there's probably like 150 of them. Go ahead.
So if when we pay you and we show up to the event, we can just wander off and go wherever we want? We don't
No. Depends on the event. A lot of times you're going to have a tour or some sort of, sometimes it's a class, sometimes it's a tour. But a lot of times if it's a tour, yes, you can wander off later and go on your own and look through the museum or whatever it is. But most things have some sort of a tour with it or activity. We do lots of hands-on activities. Do you like cutting things open? Okay. We do lots of dissections. My daughter hates them. And I'm like, I don't care. I like watching them. I don't know. I got her like cut the shark. I was like, oh, this is as good as I got. Any other questions? Seriously, we do so many fun things. There is so much to do here. It's amazing.
These books, are they like essentially just something you've done for your own memories?
Yes, I keep forgetting to tell people about that. So these are our yearbooks. You're welcome to look through them because they're filled with pictures from the field trips, but also all sorts of other pictures. But they're good to look through, especially this last, I'd say, 5th, 6th, 7th, these last 3. Those I did more strictly in that I was like, oh, if I ever lose my box of curriculum stuff, this will suffice as my portfolio. Like, God forbid my house burns down, because it's on Shutterfly and it doesn't go away. So God forbid my house burns down, I still have copies. But you're welcome to look through those. I do really pretty nice, I don't sell them or anything. I do them only for myself. Lord knows I only have time for doing them for myself. But they are good for looking through to see the different field trips and stuff. And all of them have, they do have a list of the field trips we did that year. So like this year she did, 42 field trips or whatever I'm trying to find. So I'll always put a list, in the front. They're pretty detailed. I'm kind of anal. I really am a little.
Do you do a little each day, or you would just, are you
I've been, this last year, I did great. Every event, I'd come home and I'm like, all right, put a page in. I was really good because there's a couple of years where I was like, oh my gosh, it's April and I haven't done anything. And it takes weeks. I mean, it takes a long time. So if you're gonna do fancy books like that, they're great. But they do take a lot of time. They do. Especially the way I do them because I'm so anal. Just a little.
It's a great idea to use that as your portfolio though.
It is, because if I ever lost my stuff, I could go back to Shutterfly and print another one or whatever. I'd still at least have it. I mean, I put her test results in there. I just put everything in there. I was like, I'm losing nothing. I don't know. I used to manage a newspaper, I was the editor of a newspaper, not a manager. And when I first started working there, I laid out the paper from cover to cover. So graphically, I'm putting all the ads in, I'm putting the photos and stories in, right? And the publisher's like, all you do all day long, save, save, save. Your fingers will go like this. You need to save, 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 because the first time you lose an entire newspaper, you'll always learn to save, save, save. So I'm like one of those, I like double, and he had taught me that too. He's like, we save this here, we save it there, and we save it there. We're never losing anything. So I became like that. I don't know. I save everything. But any other questions? And you guys are like itching to go home. You're like, it's Saturday night, so that's okay. Well, I hope you guys learned something about our wonderful place. Thank you.